This campaign launches and gets a $362 NCAC, $2 higher than the other campaign, and he pauses it because just taking the metric for a face value.
Yeah.
So as he's spending on 360, everything's fine because the combined CPA is at $100 is good enough. The new campaign that only counts the new gets a 360, and that's cause for panic.
So it's too bad here that you have to do all this manually, but I remember the day when you would go into actually Facebook and it would give you the blended CPA, which we now call obviously NCAC or CAC, because that's really the number. The number in the Andromeda campaign doesn't look great. However, your DPAs are just gobbling all of that up.
And when these are all running broad, there is no targeting anyway, but it's not trying to necessarily remarket. So that's one of the reasons.
Basically meta feeder strategy, which you're doing here, because you're in transition between the old way and the new way.
Yeah. Yeah. And all we did was start a new campaign that showed literally the same exact 4 and 4 as it always did. But the 4 new customer purchases and 4 new customer purchases when we're looking at the compare period, which there we go, 4 and 4, which is, 4 new, 1 returning, and then 4 new, 1 returning. It's literally the same exact metric, but everything else started to get better. So when we're looking at the total, everything on top line, same sessions, conversion rate up 56%, this is, selling everything. We know that the Facebook is getting much better. Meta, combined Facebook and Instagram is up on both. All we did was just launch the new campaign. And so as soon as we went through it, I said, hey, actually your NCAC globally is down 22%. He goes, okay, that sounds good. I understand. Let's try to be a little bit less aggressive. The reason why I launched that campaign at such a high, like $800 per day spend, is we were actually going into the September budget. And it's like, hey, for September, I want to spend this. So I just took that new amount of spend, divided it by 30.4, and set that thing at our daily budget was like $800 a day. What's funny is in the first 3 or 4 days, our NCAC dropped by 22%, even with throwing that $2,000 into there, like immediately.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. What was interesting is because when we're looking at our 74 to 115, that was the 3rd day of the first 4 days is like, that's when it started. And so it was interesting to see like an immense amount of cash injection. And then the in-platform CPA of a different metric was higher than the original metric. But here's one last thing I'd love to share with you that I thought was actually really funny is if we look at this one here, like this campaign, let's isolate this campaign here. So if we look at this and filter to selected rows, and we go into the before period, which was the 27th to the 30th, and we go and look at the $1,000 in spend, right? So watch this, 1081 divided by how many new customers did we have? We had 3. So we had divided by 3. That was a $360 NCAC in this campaign before Andromeda started to bring in a whole bunch of new users, 360. Now, when we look at the next 4 days here, this campaign here, which is, come on, baby. This campaign here, let's just isolate it to this campaign. Look at what my NCAC is. 362. So the week before, the campaign that the client liked was getting a $360 NCAC, and he was very happy with that. He just didn't know it. He didn't know that there was a 360 NCAC. He thought it was this campaign here. No, I'm sorry, this campaign here. He thought that this campaign was getting a nice $58 CPA. When you look at only the new customers, he was spending, 1,081, which was like this one here. It was just on a different date range. But long story short, he was spending $1,000, was getting an actual 360 NCAC. Didn't know it. This campaign launches and gets a $362 NCAC, $2 higher than the other campaign, and he pauses it. Because just taking the metric for a face value.
Yeah.
So as he's spending on 360, everything's fine because the combined CPA is at, $100 is good enough. The new campaign that only counts the new gets a 360, and that's cause for panic.
So it's too bad here that like you have to do all this manually, but it's like I remember the day when you would go into actually Facebook and it would give you the blended, CPA, which we
Yeah.
now call obviously NCAC or CAC,
Mm-hmm.
because that's really the number. It's like the number in the Andromeda campaign doesn't look great. However, your DPAs are just gobbling all of that up, because I have a lot of questions for you here, because you've always stated in all the other case studies that we've talked about here is that when there's a click in the Andromeda campaign, they stay within that campaign. But this one is not, because it's going over to the DPAs, but you don't have that bottom of funnel creative in the Andromeda campaign, or you do?
Remember, it won't shift, it won't jump between other campaigns if the conversion event is the same.
That's right. Okay. That because this is just purchases and not purchase NC,
different objective, it can go out.
Got it.
Yes, which is also why consolidation. Are you using purchase event? You have to consolidate. Are you using new customer purchase event? You have to consolidate. You can't have new customer event and standard purchase event. You have old model, new model, existing targeting, existing aggressiveness, new users. So we have to think about it differently. And that's what's great, is that's been the rule since we started teaching this, was always, if the conversion event's the same, they will not jump between them, which is why my little test of the 90-10 split with the same conversion event didn't work, because it was like, it worked good on the 10%. Then when it transferred into the 90, it failed. Why? Those were two different audiences.
Right.
So they were split. So that's
super interesting. Okay. Yeah. I think that's like a teaching point right there, because we have mentioned that in the past, but I mean, this is a great example of a camp or a ad account that's in transition.
Mm-hmm. Very much
so. And this is a great ongoing case study for this channel here, for everybody who comes in and watches it and listens and everything else. Point is like, what is I know we want to get to questions, obviously, is what are you going to do next? Because it seems to me, it's kind of clear like what you got to do, but you also have to train the client to start thinking in an Andromeda world, which is sometimes the hardest part. Because I have a feeling your recommendation is going to be eventually maybe pause some of these campaigns or pull those ads into the Andromeda campaign, or maybe I'm just getting ahead of myself here.
No, you're exactly right. The next thing I'm going to be proposing is taking literally all of the creative from all campaigns, obviously except for Trib,
right,
and placing them into the Andromeda campaign, and also not using any DPA, like no DPA.
Okay.
Yep.
Not part of the content diversification strategy, but they are very good. Why wouldn't you just keep like one DPA going, like just for old time's sake?
I know. And you know what? I had that same thought. I did that same thing, and here's what I found.
Okay.
All right. So if we look at
many people have felt that way, but here's what we found.
I know. It's funny, is I've tested every which way, shape, and form I possibly can on almost like everything that I possibly can at the same time. And what I found is this here. If I start descending by amount spent, and this is since July, you'll see there's my DPA here.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at 14,000 in spend and 30,000 in spend.
Mark loves his DPAs, doesn't he?
That's right. Well, and what's funny is I was like, I'm going to test it, because my theory is can we get a whole bunch of people who are coming to the site? Can I just scoop through all of these people and blast through them? And what we found is that by using the proper creative, this is a face to camera / founder story / a UGC. So, I mean, this is like an everything in one. It's a text offer. We got one offer, one pain point, one hook. So we loaded it up and said, let the games begin, whatever one wins.
Good job.
Yep. And so this one here is getting $215 new customers at 140. This was getting a 351 new customer cost at 41.
Yep.
And what was interesting about this is when you look at the splits, this is 140 new and 37 returning. So 140 and 37, a delta of 103, where it's pretty good.
Not this purchase NC, because I see a different number for purchase NC in there. Is that embedded in the AOS new customer purchase?
So this is without FBID or FBCID.
Oh, okay.
This one is imported without the actual first click. It's when it can be matched. So this one says, hey, this gets super technical, but it means as soon as we had a purchase event happen, the CAPI fired without FBID or without FBCID, without the first click, and then was sent over to Meta. And then Meta was able to match them, but mostly just by a 1-day view. Because if you send Meta 10 and say, was this you? Meta says all 10 of them were me. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. So it was starting to over attribute. And that was a time period where we're dragging this thing out. So these things are being reduced down. I have actually another case study there, but that was, I'll share that with you here. But this one has the AOS. This is actually a first click new customer. And that's why this one is actually can be physically attributed to this campaign confirmed by Meta. These here are just like, I don't know, probably came here. It's kind of like the AI enhances like, that reason. So we have to look at the 140 here. And then we can also look at the purchases of 433. We can do that as well. So we have 140, 433. This one here had 41, 160. So this website purchases is 4 times higher than this metric here. This 4 times higher. If we look at 140 times 4, 140 times 4 would be 560, which means this one here, the delta between 140, this is at 560. These are the returning customers. These are the new of the returning customers. Oh, sorry. This is a total amalgamation of all customers. These are new versus all.
Got it.
So if you take 140, multiply it by 4, you get 560. You do not get 560 here. Because this metric is lower, it means that more of the website purchases are new. Because you have 140 of 443 versus 41 of 160. 25% are new versus all. And this is like a 33% of all purchases are new. So you actually get a higher split of new versus returning. And but this one is also going extremely bottom of the funnel. And my thought was going way too hard on too new traffic. So it's like, hey, I'm Mark. Check out, this is, my 2-pound block of lobster. And the next thing I see is like, want to buy the lobster, want to buy the lobster, want to buy the lobster, want to buy the lobster. It's like, you got to kind of back off. It's I just learned about you. Yeah. So after I shut this one off, this one actually
ready to get married yet.
Yeah, exactly. This one became a lot more effective. And now that was 215 last week. It's down now to 190, and I don't need DPA. So I have tested it. It goes way too aggressive, still way too warm, still spends my company ad spend on, a higher degree of warm, 75%. Existing users, even though it's only counting 25% of the cold traffic, it can't grow cold. Why? Meta says it can't. Meta says you want to know who's going to be taking advantage of the product that they're ready to buy right now, not cold traffic. It's your existing customers or who's on the website now. So it was like too aggressive.
Too aggressive. Too soon. Yeah.
Too aggressive in its remarketing. And I'm not going to be able to basically maintain 1/5 of my budget on just heavy remarketing. We don't need to.